Good morning, friends. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, families and friends. Happy Monday. How are y'all doing? Y'all feeling okay today? I hope so. I hope so. Um, we gotta we gotta try to focus this week. Let's focus. All right. There's a lot of things that were said in churches, was said in programs that has nothing to do with the gospel. It has nothing to do with the gospel. You can argue it all you want to. We all know. We all know. We all know. We really don't fully understand what the gospel is all about. But there's still time, but time is running out. So this week we're discussing. I pastored yesterday about spiritual formation of gospel citizenship. You must form your citizenship here on earth. Uh, you cannot form your citizenship after death. Paul has established himself before death, his citizenship. He's established that, and when the time comes, he will be in heaven, right? Well, what about us? What about us? What about us? What about our uh, salvation? What about our journey here on earth? What are we doing? What are we doing that is promising to God? What are we sacrificing? Right? What are we sacrificing? Are we sacrificing anything? Are we suffering for the gospel? Are we sacrificing anything for the gospel? Are we formed in, by, for the gospel? This is what we got to ask ourselves. I was having a conversation with my daughter, and my daughter was concerned about uh, the people getting deported. I proceeded to let her know that, look, people, look, baby, look, daughter, that is a distraction. We are so concerned about what's happening. I get it. I get it. It is important. It is important. But the Bible said this stuff was going to happen. These people are right now being uh, uh, condemned and persecuted uh, for their nationality, for their uh, um, culture, right? And it's only a select few. So this stuff is going to happen, but it's not so intense. They could kill them. Do, do you see what I'm saying? They could just go ahead and persecute them, martyr them, but they're not. This is just a setup. And if we pay attention to what's really going on behind the scenes is the Bible. And if we pay attention to what's going on, what's happening, we won't worry about it. See, that's what they want you to do. They want you to focus on that while they do this, you know. So you got people doing hate up healer signs and all of that. These are major concerns. They are. But they are distractions from what's really happening. That's why we need to not be distracted by that and get in our Bible. Get in our Bible. Let me show you something. This is what's going on right now. This is what's going on right now. And a lot of us do not recognize it because we're paying attention to what's going on. We're paying attention to the problem that's in our face. All right. Well, I get it. It ain't happening to me. Okay, then, cool. It's not happening to me. So, what can I do to help people see it's not happening to them, or what can I do to help people get through what's happening to them, is to teach them how to get through it, or how to avoid it, or how to not worry about it, to not focus on it, because they're taking your focus off what's really important. What's really important is that they're going to set up that one world order with politics and religion. Do you see the setup? They taking these folks out because these folks can't ride with what they riding with. They looking at us that's here, and they're gonna change some things. Pay attention to what's going on. It's all a setup. You think it's not affecting us? It is. And I ain't talking about affecting us emotionally. It's gonna affect us to the point where it's gonna come to our homes. And that's what you gotta worry about. We might not get deported, or we might not go through what they went through, but whatever they're going through, it's a reason. And you gotta find out the reason. And the reason is that one world order, people. They're trying to make sure that everybody else around understands that they're going to be in control. It's going to be one person in control, and they got to ride with everybody. 10, the 10, the 10 countries. Okay, believe me. Check this out, people. I want y'all to look at this. This is why we need to focus, and this is why this is happening. Spiritual formation is also the driving force for all aspects of human development. Of human development. People who are not being formed in the image of Christ are not fully human, and thus, in an important sense, they are lacking the cognitive of social and moral development. They are lacking the sensitivity of social and moral development. Is it moral to do all this stuff? No. Is it social to do all of this stuff? No. Does it have any sensitivity in doing all this stuff? No. They lack that. And you have to understand that. A lot of times we try to change people. We can't change people. There should be no tension then between spiritual formation, community development, and meeting human needs. What is that saying? Look at your tension. You got Christianity, you got cults, and you got religion. That's tension. We're separated. And I'm gonna tell you like this: how awful it is that we are separated. The politics see that we're separated too. And politics, the government is saying, hey, we got to do one thing. We got to be on the same page. We got to be a united front. Are they wrong for that? No. But how they going to do it, it's going to be wrong. You're going to worship what they want you to worship, whether you're a Muslim, whether you Jewish, whether you Catholic, Pentecostal, Baptist. It's going to be one religion. And you're going to worship it or die. That's what it's all about. So this is what Paul is saying. Paul is saying, if you live by the gospel of Jesus Christ, then you're going to be persecuted. You're going to go through some other stuff. And I get it. I get it. Other religions probably say if you live by Buddha, you're going to get it. But what is the truth? You understand? Check this out, people. I want y'all to go to Philippians 1. Look at verse 27. It says, only let your conversation be as it becoming the gospel of Christ, that whether I come and ye and see you, or else be absent, I may hear of your affairs. Stop right there. Look, you must exercise citizenship. That's what he's saying. No matter if he there or not, you must behave like citizens. And what he's talking about is behave like the gospel of Jesus Christ. Now, the the gospel regulates the lives of heavenly citizens. It regulates them. It keeps them going. It keeps them hoping and trusting in God. And if you're not uh, figuring out how this gospel thing works and how this doctrine is set up and how the formation of it as it went, the formation of the gospel of Jesus Christ was formed in Acts. Go read Acts. The Bible is not taught and is not in chronological order. Okay. So with that being said, that's how I teach it. I taught Acts, I taught Ephesians, I'm Philippians. The thing is, when you read Acts, you're gonna dab into Romans, you're gonna dab into First and Second Corinthians because it tells what was going on in the Corinthians in Corinth. It tells what was going on in Rome when he wrote this stuff. People, you gotta we gotta get we gotta get this Bible in order. Okay, we gotta read this Bible in a certain fashion. Right? It doesn't matter how you read it, but it matters to you between God that you have that type of formation of the gospel that you need to get to know him and get to know him for yourself. Because that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. We got to get together. We got to make sure that everything is on the up and up. On the up and up. It's got to be straight. But, you know, we got so much theology, so much garbage out there, and so much doctrines that it kills what we're trying to do, what the gospel is trying to do, but the gospel still is going to make its way around the world, no matter what. Only let your conversation be as it becoming to the gospel of Christ, that whether I come and see or else be absent, I may hear of the affairs that ye stand fast in one spirit, with one mind, striving together the faith of the gospel. We got to wrestle together. We can't be all separated between Christianity, cults, and religions. And then you got those denominations up under all that stuff. So we're separated spiritually. We're not teaching the same thing. We got tension between us, right? Not in contention with or against one another to build up human organizations which oppose each other in the gospel, but in union against the enemies of the gospel. We are not in union of enemies in the gospel. Most of our Christianities and cults and religions are against each other. Cults are against themselves, so who cares? But the religions and the denominations of Christianity are definitely, they definitely oppose each other, and they oppose the gospel. That's why we're not teaching the gospel anymore. We're not teaching the gospel of Jesus Christ anymore. We're teaching the gospel of man. Like I said, I talked to my daughter, and my daughter, she agreed that when she goes to her church, her mother's church, um, it's all about prosperity. It's all about blessings on blessings. It's all about come get your breakthrough. It's not about the gospel. Nowhere in this Bible talks about a breakthrough dealing with the gospel. But that's neither here nor there. People have their own way of thinking, and that's what's wrong. We're not in unity. In verse 28 of Philippians 1, it says, and in nothing terrified by your adversaries. In nothing terrified by your adversaries. At this time, the Philippian was going through persecution. Only way that you can stand fast and not be terrified of persecution if you are practicing or living or ready to die for the gospel of Jesus Christ. The gospel of Jesus Christ is going to give you strength. It's going to give you strength to overcome certain things. Jesus died for the people, for the sin, right? Little Stephen died for the gospel of Jesus Christ. He was the first that died for the gospel of Jesus Christ. He was martyred. So he had strength and courage, and he gave up the ghost. Jesus had strength and courage. He gave up the ghost. But resurrection told it all that if you, as men and women of God, follow the gospel of Christ, be citizens of the gospel of Christ, you will reap that same prize, that same benefit of ascension, being rose again out of the dead. No matter where you are, no matter what happened, no matter if you blew up, burnt, your body will come back together. It's gonna be a great experience for a lot of us. But we gotta make sure that we are focused on what's at hand. We gotta focus. We gotta focus. So it says, and in nothing terrified by your adversaries, which is to them an evident token of perdition, but to you of salvation and the and that of God. So they think it's perdition. They think they're damning you. They think that's damnation when you stand for the gospel of Jesus Christ and willing to die for it. They think, oh, they damning themselves. Oh, they destroying themselves. They look at it as destruction, but it's not. And that's why a lot of us are terrified of giving our life for Christ. Terrified. Because we know, and it's been said, and we don't watch movies, that we will die. We have to die for that. One day we're gonna have to stand and say, no, I'm not worshiping that. I'm gonna worship this. Just like, just like, just like the three that went in the furnace. Y'all know who they are. I ain't got to recite the word. The three that went in the furnace said they won't worship what the king wanted them to worship. So he threw them in the furnace. These nuts went up there and tried to turn it up higher than what it was. And they ended up getting burnt up. But them three did not. Did not. And they saw a fourth in there with them. That's why you have to make sure that you see what's going on. That is the gospel of Jesus Christ in the Old Testament. Because the gospel of Jesus Christ explains persecution that's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You can't stop it. But we try to pray against it. And that's why we're so confused. In verse 29 of Philippians 1, it says, "For unto you is given in behalf of Christ, not only to believe on him, but also to suffer for his sake." So you're gonna gain something, right? You're gonna gain something. When you think of salvation, it refers to the salvation of your soul. It refers to Paul's deliverance from prison. Paul right now is talking about that, hey, I know that if you believe in him, then you will gain salvation. And this salvation will free you either from prison, if they put you in prison, or either from eternal death. So it's your decision. In verse 30 of Philippians 1, it says, "Having the same conflict which ye saw in me, and now here to be in me." Now, you're going to recognize the prize. That's what he said. It's a contest. It's a prize. And it's a contest for a prize, a struggle, a battle. This is why we need to be sure that we know how to put the armor on, how to shine the armor, how to understand the peace of God, peace and grace of God, how to understand how to be a joy and a crown to people, how to have spiritual unity, how to be confident in God for other believers. Paul was very confident in the Philippians, very confident. So, man, we gotta make sure that we focus, people. We gotta make sure we focus and get ourselves together because the time is at hand. We gotta be able to show that we love Christ. We gotta be able to show obedience. We gotta prove to Him that we love Him, and we gotta stand and defend the gospel at all costs. If it costs your life, you gotta stand and defend the gospel of Jesus Christ. But you know, I get it. I get it. A lot of us don't want to do that. So when he says the conflict, he's talking about the prize, the struggle, the battle. When he talks about the conflict which he saw in me and now here to be in me, Paul got arrested. He got arrested because it was a little girl, right? This little girl was possessed. And these folks in Macedonia was making money off this little girl. He cast the demon out of her. Paul and Silas was jailed. There was a great earthquake, and the jail opened, and the chains fell off of them, and they stayed. But a lot of people would lie and said Jesus came in the Spirit came in the midnight hour and freed Paul and Silas. No, it didn't free them. They end up staying there, and the jailer and his house converted and baptized. This is how we mess up the gospel by lying about scripture. Then Paul refuses to depart privately like a common criminal when they found out that he was a Roman. So what they did, they beat him. They did all this stuff without condemning him first, without a trial. So now they want to free him. And Paul's like, no, y'all gonna come down here and answer to this. You're not gonna free me like a common criminal privately. No, I want everybody to know that, hey, y'all was wrong. I want them to see you come. So people, look, let me tell y'all something. We got 35 conditions of assurance. 35. I'm not going to read all of them to you, but you got to have assurance that you are in the gospel. And you got to make sure whatever you are part of is in the gospel also. So you got to become a subject of Christ's grace. You got to be a partaker of God. I mean, a subject of God's grace. You got to be a partaker of God's grace. You got to abound more and more in love. You got to prove things that are excellent. You got to be sincere unto the end. You got to be without offense till the end. You got to be filled with fruits of righteousness. You got to let your manner of life be as becoming of the gospel of Christ. This is some things we got to do. We got to stand fast in one spirit, one mind, with others, striving together for the gospel. We got to be we can't be terrified of our enemies. We have to suffer for his sake. We got to be like-minded with Christ. We got to have the same love. And we got to do what we have to do to learn, to receive, to hear, and see in Paul. We got to learn from Paul, people. Paul did it. Paul was a gangster. Paul did it, man. So look, people, I know this is Monday. Let's not let it be a Monday. Let's focus. Let's focus. Most time people say it's Monday. It's just hell all day. So let's focus, people. So look, I love y'all, and I want y'all to be blessed. So may the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you all. And remember this: spiritual formation of gospel citizenship. You gotta have a formation. You gotta have some type of form. You gotta know that you are a citizen. You gotta behave as such. Amen.